Step inside the intense world of courtroom drama, where justice unfolds amidst high stakes and raw emotions. In this video, witness the gripping moments when victims' families take justice into their own hands, targeting convicts before they face their final sentences. On June 15, 2017, a Boardman woman was found dead and riddled with bullet holes on Market Street, Youngstown, Ohio, and it was the beginning of a really long and painful trial for the family of the victim. Elizabeth Pledger Stewart was the victim of the entire situation, and the man who initiated it all by murdering her is 59-year-old Dale Williams. He was apprehended by Youngstown police after forcing Elizabeth's car off the road, causing a crash, and then firing multiple shots at her until his gun was empty. All of this happened during the day, and according to one witness who refused to reveal her identity, Dale Williams had waited in an alley 45 minutes before he chased and killed Elizabeth in the middle of the street with witnesses present. It seems like he wasn't considering the consequences of what he did. Elizabeth was 46 years old when she was chased by Dale, who was later revealed to be her boyfriend. He didn't just wake up and decide to kill her. It was revealed that Elizabeth had filed a report to the police the night before Dale killed her. She told police just 11 hours before that Dale was upset and was angrily accusing her of seeing someone else. Before then, he told her he was going to catch her in the streets before he proceeded to chase her the next day, where she was probably trying to run away from Dale. He chased her with his van until he crashed into the back of her car. The police caught him in the act of emptying his bullets into Elizabeth's body, where they arrested him and took him to court. Williams was charged with aggravated murder with a firearm, felonious assault, and having weapons under disability. Elizabeth had 3 children, a 14-year-old girl and 2 other male children whose ages were not mentioned. When the trial began, her 14-year-old daughter was ready to give her statement. However, as that time came closer, it didn't take long for the court to realize her 2 sons, Anthony D. and Jerome Stewart, had other plans besides seeing their mother's murderer standing without anything threatening his life, so they decided to change that. The 2 men lunged at Dale Williams and began attacking him until they were subdued by deputies. One of them had to be stopped with a taser, which led to Elizabeth's aunt, Janet Dees, freaking out and screaming at Dale Williams, as well as the deputies after they hit one of Stewart's sons. This disruption caused the court session to be postponed till the next week, where Janet Dees finally had a chance to say everything she had been holding in.
We saw him, his face, we felt it was so much emotion due to a flashback of how he just killed my niece.
By the time the trial was over, 2 years later, 62-year-old Dale Williams was sentenced to anywhere from 23 years to life imprisonment. He had no reaction to his sentence when it was read to him. As for Anthony and Stewart, the disruption they caused earned them a few weeks behind bars. They spent 30 days in prison for contempt of court, but it must have been worth it because Dale was going to be in prison for so long that they may never see him alive again. Seeing a murderer standing peacefully is truly enough reason to attack them, especially after taking someone's life. And in the case of Michael Madison, we don't think anyone should be punished for losing self-control and attacking a man like him in court, especially not a grieving parent. Michael Madison, a serial killer who faced multiple charges such as 3 counts of murder, sexually motivated aggravated murder, kidnapping among others, was definitely not expecting to be attacked in court after what he did. Between 2012 and 2013, under 9 months, Michael had killed 3 women in Ohio before he was arrested. He was read his charges and the potential punishment for each of his charges before he was sent to court. Madison was born on October 15, 1977, to parents Diane Madison and John Baldwin. He was the result of an accidental pregnancy, and Baldwin claimed that he was not the father of Madison. Madison would grow up with his mother and her boyfriends, who all mistreated him as he was growing up. Not much was known about Madison until 2013, when someone requested that the police examine the case of foul odor that was coming from a garage that had been rented to Madison. Upon entering, they found a decomposing body inside and 2 more in a backyard and the basement of an empty house. The bodies were all wrapped in plastic bags, and they were all in close proximity to Madison's house. Eventually, the police got a search warrant to search Madison's house, where they found evidence tying him to the murder of these women. After a short standoff at his mother's house, Madison was arrested. The victims were identified as Shatisha Sheely, 28, Angela Deskins, 38, and Sherelda Helen Terry, 18. Madison confessed to kidnapping, killing, abuse of corpse, assault, and mutilation of the 3 women. The details of what he did to them are too gruesome to describe.
How you doing, Your Honor? My name is Van Terry. Right now, I guess we're supposed to, in our hearts, forgive this clown.
Van Terry lost all composure when Madison smirked at him, showing no remorse whatsoever. He jumped at Madison and was quickly stopped by deputies before the session was stopped for a short period, before order was restored with the help of the police. The jury delivered no mercy for Madison as expected, so it was not a shock when Judge Nancy McDonnell announced that there was a unanimous decision to give him the death penalty. After his sentence was read and Madison was led away, the parents of the victims expressed their feelings upon seeing their daughter's murderer pay for his crimes. Madison continued to pay for his crimes as he awaited his execution in prison. It was learned that the inmates of the jail he was sent to severely beat and injured him after they discovered what he did. He was hospitalized for 2 months before he was sent back to jail. However, when he got there, he was again slapped and had his head smashed on a desk for his crimes. 3 years after he was sentenced, his mother, Diane Madison, was killed from multiple stab wounds by her 28-year-old grandson, Jalen Plummer, who pleaded guilty to all charges. If you thought that Michael Madison felt the wrath of a family, the case of Diamond Alvarez and how her family fought hard for her justice will leave you shocked and surprised at the strength that a family can gather to deliver as much damage to a convict as possible.
As Diamond Alvarez's mother began walking towards De Leon, a bailiff holds her back. That's when the situation escalates, with Diamond's uncle jumping in from the gallery and punching De Leon. De Leon's mother then jumps in and pushes Diamond's mother at one point, and the two fight in front of the judge.
Diamond Alvarez was unfortunately not around to witness just how much her family was ready to risk it all for her after her killer showed no remorse for the horrible end he gave her. Diamond Alvarez was 16 years old when she was brutally murdered by 19-year-old Frank Delian Jr. outside her home. On January 11, 2023, 16-year-old Diamond was shot 22 times when she took her dog for a walk. Her family heard gunshots and the family called the police after their dog came back home without Diamond. Her family went to search for her, and her brother found her just before she passed away. According to her family, Diamond died in her mother's arms after they did all they could to save her. Investigations showed that the two were on the verge of a breakup when Frank shot her. The two were in a relationship when Diamond found out that Frank had been cheating on her and was in a relationship with someone else. They had dated for about 6 months before they broke up. Even though his murder trial began almost 10 months after he killed Diamond, he didn't show up to the first day of his trial. This caused many people to ask questions, and law enforcement officers confirmed that he was in custody. They said the reason he had missed the first day of his murder trial was because he had gotten into a car crash on his way to the court that day and had to be taken to the hospital to get treated for the wound. However, since he didn't show up to his first day, he forfeited the $250,000 bond for his bail. After his bail was posted, he was released, and Diamond's mother was fearful as he lived close to her. She said they had received threats after they had demanded justice for their daughter. After he didn't show up, he was sent to a county jail after he was released from the hospital. He was eventually charged, and Anna Mikado, Diamond's mother, had to appear in court for the trial. It would have been a painful but calm trial if Diamond's family had not snapped from the despicable attitude that Frank had displayed. He had shown no remorse whatsoever, and this caused Diamond's mother to lose it. As she was giving her statement, Diamond's mother told Frank how she felt about what he did to her daughter. Frank smirked at her, and nobody knew what Diamond's mother was doing until she started moving fast towards Frank. She was stopped before she could get close to him, but that didn't stop Frank from almost getting mauled by the rest of the family. While Diamond's mother was being stopped, her uncle sprinted to where Frank was standing and jumped at him fully with the intent of attacking. Frank's mother responded to this and tried to defend her son by attacking Diamond's mother, which caused Diamond's aunt to attack and try to beat Frank's mother. Her uncle was taken into custody, but he was eventually released without being charged with anything.
That was wrong of us because we're not monsters. But it's so much hate because I want my daughter back. And what he did it was horrible.
Eventually, Frank accepted a plea deal and was sentenced to 45 years in prison for the murder of Diamond Alvarez. The judge and jury ruled that Frank had to spend at least half of his sentence in jail before he was eligible for parole. It would seem that Diamond's family had other plans to attack Frank, but he was quickly taken away before they decided to risk it all and attack him again. The emotional responses of these people are more than enough to consider permanently allowing convicts to be hit at least once by the grieving families. Get ready for another gripping installment that will leave you on the edge of your seat in our next video: Craziest Convict Reactions to Life Sentences.